Hi, my name is Perry Laura, and this is my PowerPoint presentation for my final project for CIS115 Information Security. This is my first time creating a YouTube video, so I apologize if it's not that great. What I did for my final project was I looked at the Linux Mint System Administrator's Beginner's Guide, and I selected Chapter 9, which is about security, and I just followed some of the steps throughout the chapter. So you'll see here the first step, what I did was I installed a secure shell server, and so I did that I went under the software manager application in the menu, and you'll see at the bottom I just added a little note just saying that using a secure shell is important because it allows a user or client to securely connect to a server. In order to get config details, I typed the command that you see here in step 2, and it brought up the screen that I have showing here. So for my next step, in the administrator's guide, it asked for me to look for a line that contains permit root login and replace it with the following line. Before I typed in no, which you see here in my slide, it said yes, so what I had to do was go in and replace it with no. And the reason that I did that is because if someone were to hack into the computer, they wouldn't be able to have complete access to the system by becoming the root user. The next step in the guide asked for me to look for another line that contains port and replace it with the following, port 5656. And before I replaced it with that, it actually said port 22. And by making these small changes in configuration, a first level wall has been established and security is increased. The next thing I did was I installed antivirus software, and the antivirus software that I installed here is, I guess it's called Clam AV. And how I did that was I clicked on the menu button and clicked on the software manager button inside the system group, and then I selected Clam AV, and then I installed it as you see here. So once the installation was complete, I tested the antivirus software by typing in the command that you see here, clam scan, and what it did was it scanned the home directory for viruses. And when the scan was complete, a simple report was shown like the one you see here on the screen, and it just shows information about scanned files and directories and whether or not any of them are infected. After installing the antivirus software and testing it, the next thing I did was I configured a simple firewall. And I did that by first I went to the main menu and I clicked on the firewall configuration button belonging to the administration category, as you see here. The next thing I had to do was activate the firewall by selecting the on option in status. Next thing I did was I clicked on the edit menu and selected the add rule button in order to add a new rule. Next thing I was asked to do was to click on the advanced tab and select deny for the first drop down option. I then typed in the IP address that you see up there where it says 192.168.1.66 in the from input box, and then I typed in 22 for the port input box, and then in the to input box I typed in the IP address for Linux Mint, and then again I typed 22 for the port, and then once I was finished doing that I clicked add and then close. Final step, I checked to make sure that the new rule had been added to the rules list, and now I know that the firewall is configured and is now up and running.